back. I was asked what a good pre-workout stretching routine would look like. Flexibility is one of the harder topics to speak on. It tends to be misunderstood, so I'd like to help everyone understand what flexibility is and what it is not. For anyone who just wants to see the routine, you can skip to the part 2 video right now. First off, let's define flexibility. Flexibility is simply the measure of the range of motion within a joint. It can be affected by a number of anatomical and fitness-related factors such as joint structure, which is determined by the type and shape, 2, age and sex. An age-related process called fibrosis tends to be prevalent, and that's where connective tissue actually replaces muscle tissue. Whether it's purely due to age or if it's due to inactivity and decreased use of joints is not entirely established yet. But we do believe it is reversible through flexibility training. 3, connective tissue. 4, resistance training with a limited range of motion, which I would consider improper training. The fact is, we know that proper resistance training through a full range of motion will help maintain or improve flexibility. 5, excess muscle or fat bulk. 6, activity level. As it decreases, flexibility decreases. And 7, obviously, injury, disease, and deformity. Due to multiple factors being involved in flexibility, there exists no specific degree of range of motion for each joint to achieve optimum health, but rather a broad range that is generally considered acceptable. Please bear in mind that while we should strive to reach flexibility in our body, we should not seek hyper-flexibility. The research is clear on this. Extreme inflexibility or extreme flexibility increases injury risk. Obvious exceptions exist, such as a person involved in a sport that requires extreme flexibility. But for the person interested in general health and fitness, I often tell them that in regards to flexibility, it is just fine to be average. Let's move on. There are 2 main components to flexibility: static measure and dynamic measure. Static stretching is the range of movement in a joint during passive movement. In other words, it is not your muscles moving and stretching the joint, but some outside force. It is the type of stretching that most of us think of first. We relax a limb, grab with the other, and lightly pull until we feel tension and hold for 10 or more seconds. The amount of tension we feel is dictated by the amount of pressure that we apply. Provided a warm-up is done prior to this type of stretching, it is generally considered safe and effective at increasing range of motion. Many people find it relaxing and beneficial before bedtime. So if you enjoy it, by all means, continue to do so. But static stretching does have its limitations. Simply increasing range of motion within a joint does little for our health unless we are able to actually move through that range of motion under our own power. This range of motion during active movement is called dynamic flexibility, and it is a more practical, efficient, and useful type of stretching. Why? Dynamic range of motion is generally greater than static, prepares the muscular, cardiovascular, and nervous system better, and lastly, allows us to easily stretch multiple joints in one single stretch. So it provides a superior stretch, serves as a great warm-up, and is more time efficient. That's a winning combination. Well, I hope you are motivated to try some dynamic stretching. If so, make sure to join us in part 2, where I'll demonstrate a beginner dynamic flexibility routine. It requires a small space, no equipment, and can be easily modified to any fitness level. So click on part 2, bring your body and some desire, and let's get to it.